INFJ and ESFP Relationship Compatibility. Should an INFJ date an ESFP and vice versa? See how INFJs and ESFPs get along in this guide to INFJ, ESFP couples. Find out what it's like to be in a relationship as an INFJ with an ESFP, including how you'll talk to each other and how you'll interact with each other. How INFJ and ESFP get on well. When INFJs and ESFPs spend time together, they generally find that they have a lot in common. As an INFJ, you'll want to bear these difficulties in mind while you get to know an ESFP. When it comes to romantic partners, you, an intuitive feeling type, prioritize a profound sense of intimacy. You want to know what makes the people you care about tick so you can encourage them to develop their full potential. You like partnerships that foster personal development and growth, and you're attracted to people who share these qualities. Your counterpart is a sensing perceiver type, which implies their major concentration is enjoying the moment. In relationships, this means that they seek out individuals that they have an effortless synergy with and often value one thing: fun. As an SP type, your opponent doesn't think too hard as to whether they connect with other people on a deep level. They're only seeking for buddies to keep them company on this wild ride called life. At first look, it may seem as though the two of you share nothing in common, and in reality, you do have very different perspectives on the world and thinking about things. The first time you meet this individual, unless you uncover a similar interest, it may seem like you have nothing to chat about. You tend to be idealistic, sensitive, and empathic. You have strong emotions and cherish strong principles. You have a keen awareness of global issues and human sentiments, and you are perpetually considering ways to improve life everywhere. Because you're so idealistic, you occasionally get caught up in your imagination and lose track of real reality. In comparison, your rival is all about action. They live in the now, not in their thoughts, and want to get things done. They prefer to keep their feet on the ground and avoid daydreaming. They're too busy appreciating life as it is to give much thought to how it may be improved. To what do you think you might be attracted? Plenty. In the first place, this may be the connection that finally pulls you out of your head and into the real world, away from your fantasies and ideals. When you're having trouble keeping your feet on the ground, this person can help. Furthermore, if you stay with it, you might realize that you are having more fun with this individual than any other person in your life. They seem to be spontaneous, sensual, and even a bit of a daredevil, and they may inspire you to take any chances that you wouldn't otherwise try. This person likely has a higher energy level compared to you, and you may find their excitement overwhelming at times. You may find it vital to set limits and let them know when you need space and quiet. Although there are certain frequent challenges that can occur in INFJ, ESFP partnerships, it's crucial to realize that there's no such thing as a completely suitable combination in personality typing. If you get along with someone is more dependent on your own self-knowledge and your sensitivity to your friends' wants and preferences, not some magic formula. Knowing more about your own type through an in-depth assessment is a terrific place to start to improve the self-awareness that is fundamental to successful partnerships. Communication among INFJ and ESFP. Communication can be a struggle between any two persons, and communication between INFJ and ESFP personality types is not an exception. By being aware of the challenges that often develop when INFJs and ESFPs communicate, you can learn how to reach an understanding faster. You have a different style of communication from this individual, and you'll need to make some compromises if this connection is to reach its full potential. You tend to communicate in an abstract, theoretical approach. You focus on creating connections and interpreting meaning, studying the why of the subject in question. Much of what you transmit is your notion, theory, or interpretation of what you observe rather than a straight observation. When developing plans, you are apt to spend a lot of time talking about the overarching aim or theme of the plan, without having much interest in the minutiae of exactly what will happen or how. In contrast, your opponent likes to communicate in a plain, concrete approach, emphasizing on facts, details, history, and real-life experiences. They emphasize on the what while discussing anything, and relay information that they witnessed directly or can back up with real-life evidence. When formulating plans, they prefer to focus on the exact stages that will occur, and in most cases, they prefer to discuss concrete topics rather than abstract ones. It may seem as though you are speaking different languages, but the truth is that you are both perfectly capable of stepping out of your communication comfort zones and meeting halfway, to the benefit of the relationship. You can enable your partner to stretch to go beyond the surface of things and uncover the deeper significance. And in turn, they can help you to come back down to earth and examine the nuances and facts of a situation, not just the big notion. When talking with this person, you may slip into the role of listener by default. Individuals that are more extroverted than you are will, unsurprisingly, have more to say and speak more rapidly than you do. You're the type to keep to yourself and let others do the talking more often than not. It's possible that after talking to this person, you'll feel as if you didn't get much of anything across. At times, this equilibrium is quite pleasant. Many introverts prefer having friends and associates who are energetic and conversational and keep the conversation flowing. Other times, it might be frustrating. Extroverts sometimes think that because introverts are a bit slower to get started, they have nothing to say. Your extrovert buddies may ramble on, assuming that if they don't fill the silence, no one will. Indeed, you could benefit from them pacing themselves, asking you more questions, and allowing you more time and space to share your thoughts. You may not have a talk show host personality, but that does not imply you have nothing to give. Take into account the chemistry between the two of you and decide if it's ideal. Do you feel safe talking about how you feel with your extroverted friend or partner? Or do you feel like you're getting steamrolled? If you never feel like you can be yourself around this person, it's time to have a conversation about how to improve your connection. INFJ versus ESFP qualities. Values are extremely personal. And while an INFJ and an ESFP can find a common ground, there will always be some disparities in what you hold dear. However, comprehending how your INFJ approach to values differs with your ESFP counterparts will allow you to recognize and overcome your differences. Both of you share a strong understanding and compassion for people and presumably make more than enough time in your lives to be of service to your family, friends, and communities. If you and your partner both have careers in the helping professions, or if you and your partner both find meaningful volunteer work, it's safe to say that you're a good match. However, your empathy manifests itself. You and the person you are sympathetic to both value thoughtfully assisting others. The two of you diverge in the directions in which your values are directed. You are genuinely idealistic and so passionate about what you believe. You have little trouble visualizing a world in which things are better, and you take great pleasure in encouraging others to do the same. Your counterpart has a comparable value system, but theirs is more practical and reasonable. Concern is communicated through immediate, practical actions, like lending a hand to a friend in trouble. Since it is crucial for your spouse to see a tangible result to their actions, they provide help that can be used right now as opposed to someday. Your partner's desire to help others stems more from a sense of duty to society than from the kind of compassionate pain you're used to experiencing. Even while you may find your partner's method overly traditional and close to new ideas when you're discussing strategies to tackle challenges, there is no reason why the two techniques cannot coexist. You will admire your partner's compassion, but you may fear that they don't have a higher calling. There's a possibility here to introduce one another to new ways of thinking. In a relationship, it's important to keep your cool if your partner is more stuck in their ways and less interested in trying new things or coming up with novel solutions. Your counterpart values leisure time more than you do, whereas you place a premium on success and hard effort. You're laid back, with the flow attitude stands in stark contrast to your seriousness and focus. To you, they may appear unmotivated, flaky, or even lazy, but in actuality, they merely appreciate freedom and flexibility better than you do, and they're ready to give up a few gold stars in exchange of a more laid-back lifestyle. They can view your life as too regimented, routine, and boring. Disagreements are inevitable due to your divergent worldviews. Your partner needs to buckle down, establish some concrete goals, and follow through in order to earn your respect and trust. But they will constantly remind you to chill out and have fun. In spite of the fact that this could be frustrating for both of you, think of it as an opportunity to try something new in your daily lives. In a relationship, your companion might encourage you to take risks and make sure you're taking advantage of every opportunity. As a result, you'll be able to assist them in being more systematic, tenacious, and accountable under pressure, integrating an INFJ and an ESFP into everyday life. In terms of compatibility, lifestyle is often overlooked but crucial. While you may share identical beliefs and principles, your relationship will always be strained if the two of you can't even agree on the most basic of daily activities. If you're an INFJ in a relationship with an ESFP, you can encounter some challenges. These will go a lot more smoothly as you establish your relationship if you discuss them ahead of time and figure out how to cope with them. Organization may be a sticking point between the two of you. Your rival is less structured than you are in terms of schedules, plans, and systems. Disagreements could emerge due to these underlying disparities. It's possible to have contrasting views on how neat and orderly a shared living space ought to be. You're more likely to be driven to maintain order, while your counterpart has a lower baseline demand for structure. Often, the more organized person in a partnership like yours ends up taking on more tasks, simply because they're paying more attention to what has to be done. Relational discord and bitterness are possible outcomes. It's possible that your partner will feel nagged and harassed while you assume the role of adult in the relationship. Asserting that you simply want things to be more organized is the best way to address disagreements in this area. Trying to persuade your partner that your method of doing things is the right method is unlikely to succeed, but if you frame it as your personal preference, they may be more amenable to making adjustments to suit you both. The two of you may find it difficult to agree on a schedule since they favor spontaneity, and you favor predictability. Compromise is essential, yet again. Identifying the ways in which you work best is the first step toward maximizing the advantages of each method. Then, strive to make sure your time together involves both planned activities and free time for spontaneity, so you each get an opportunity to be at your best. Because of your various perspectives and ways of communicating, finding peace in your relationship may require some work. Your conversational partner tends to take things at face value, whereas you tend to hunt for metaphors and hidden meanings in every exchange. For them, daily existence is for living via their body and their senses. If you're anything like me, you'll use it as a jumping-off point for exploring new possibilities. Essentially, you see the point of living so that you can satisfy your insatiable thirst for knowledge. You take your quest for knowledge very seriously and plan to continue it for the rest of your life. You tend to read widely, attend lessons for fun, and seek activities that allow you to investigate the yet-to-be-discovered. To your opponent's credit, the inverse is also true. They are one of life's doers, and they feel that deeds speak louder than words. They tend to choose things that will stimulate their senses or their bodies in some way, whether that's cooking, bungee jumping, or arts and crafts. There are many of hobbies here that you may both be interested in, but it can cause rifts amongst couples who can't agree on what they want to do in their spare time. As with every aspect of life, routines can become a source of tension. You long for excitement to keep things fresh, but your partner has little patience for change simply for the sake of it. Instead of perceiving this as a source of conflict, remember that you have much to give each other here. You can focus on the big picture and offer up the viewpoints and possibilities that give your partner a deeper understanding of the universe. They can focus on the specifics, on the present moment, and remind you what is vital right now. If you can keep the lines of communication open, everyone benefits. Communicating your needs is vital, as you each have a different tolerance for stimulation and social activities. You are fueled by alone time and need regular intervals of isolation to refuel your batteries. In contrast, your significant other thrives in a busy environment and likely makes time for social activities and visiting with loved ones. People don't like it when you cancel on them or overbook your social schedule, and they won't like it if you refuse to interact with them and leave them lonely. Communication is another barrier, since your partner likes to deal with difficulties quickly while you may try to throw them under the rug. You need time to think something through before having a significant conversation, and also can feel backed into a corner if your spouse gets all pushy and naggy. On the opposite hand, your spouse knows how to speak their mind and defend their viewpoint, and it might be annoying for them if they're continually having to drag a conversation out of you. It's not hard to accommodate one another's wants and requirements despite these variances. Your partner's responsibility is to respect your need for solitude while urging you to attend events that are important to them. Since compromise is a two-way street, you shouldn't feel resentful if your partner goes out to satisfy their need for social interaction.
Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit notification bell so you will be notified whenever we upload a new video. Remain better.